Greetings, humans in the realm of Earth. I am Sollum Lacerta, famed apprentice of wizard Ebrius Porcos, and through my studies of the dark arts discovered a portal to your realm, and greater stores of lore than the greatest bibliotheca in my lands. Amid these I discovered creepypastas, and although inedible, are a mere fraction of dark history and tales I find most intriguing. Alongside my human companion, the Narrator, and his Electricae Computatrum, we are scouring the internal nets for more and more of these writings. It has been my decision that both those from my personal Librarius and those of this world must be shared, to educate the wary and entertain those who appreciate the shadow as well as the light. Come and join us for a reading, and for a time enter a world outside of your own, or quite possibly inside your very home.
Tonight's scary story is by Depmemes from r/creepypasta on Reddit. Title: Night Shift, Parts 1 and 2. Night Shift, Part 1. I've been an officer for the better part of, almost 6 years now. In my time, I've seen quite a bit of evil in the world. Suicides, terrible car accidents, and gruesome crime scenes. After a while, it doesn't really bother you much. For the past year, I've been working night shift at a local hospital. This whole building used to be part of the old jail. We only utilize one small section of the massive facility. Anyway, my primary job duties mainly consist of watching the security monitors and ensuring the patients, whom a vast majority suffer from various mental illnesses or addictions, don't try to harm themselves, staff, or each other. 99% of the time, this is incredibly dull work. Until one night about 6 months ago. I was sitting at my desk when dispatch notified me of an incomplete 911 call coming from a desk phone within the facility. When I asked for the number, I was able to look it up in the phone directory. It was for the main desk of the old jail. This is an area none of the staff have access to, as it has been shut down and vacant for some time. I request a couple of additional officers to assist with clearing the building. After 10 minutes or so, my backup has arrived, and we begin to clear the building, starting in the basement. As soon as we entered the basement from the stairwell, the musty smell of old papers and old furniture flooded my nostrils. The motion detectors turned on all the lights, casting a dim glow on the old concrete walls and floor. It was a wide open area with a few rooms and an eerie feeling that something was constantly right behind you. After checking every door and finding them all locked, we checked the elevator at the opposite end of the basement. As we approached, I noticed the door across from it was slightly open. We entered the room and cleared it, leaving the door open as we left the room. Then we checked the elevator. It had power running to it, but all the buttons on the floors were locked. As we made our way back to the stairwell, we heard a door slam shut, only to find the door across from the elevator was now closed. The sudden loud slam startled me as I felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me. Every fiber of my being was screaming to get out of there, and I could see it on the faces of the other officers as well. Reluctantly, we made our way back to that door, only to find the room was empty. The first floor was still mostly old offices and the old jail cells. We started to clear the offices only to find old office furniture and cubicle walls. Upon entering the jail wing, we found that the motion sensor light had already been activated, except for a few cells. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Old building, maybe the lights were just burnt out. One of the other officers approached a darkened cell, and I saw him jump back in shock. He had sworn he saw a shadowy figure move in the cell just out of the corner of his eye. I began to have that same feeling in the basement. That feeling I was being watched, like someone was right behind me. Then in an instant, it was gone. I shook it off as we progressed to the second floor. The second floor was only used for storage. There were a lot of old files, various papers, old equipment, more office furniture, and equipment lockers. As we began to clear the room, I heard a noise like a computer chair rolling across the concrete floor. When I looked across the room, there was a computer chair that was still rolling slowly. The final 2 floors were admittedly searched in a hurry. We didn't know who or what was going on or who was slamming doors and moving things around. There couldn't be another person on any of the floors we had searched. To access the areas we were in, you would need keys, of which we had the only set. The officers and I returned to the security desk in the part of the building being used by the hospital. We talked about what had happened, and all of us felt we were just seeing things because we were tired. But every now and then, as I sit at my desk with the fan blowing from atop the file cabinet behind me, I feel the air is blocked, as if someone is standing right behind me. I still work the post at that facility, and if you'd like to hear more stories, I can post them. Night Shift, Part 2. Maybe I overthink things. There could be a perfectly logical explanation for the figure I saw on the camera at the end of the hall. I was only able to see it from the one angle after all. Surely it was a smudge, right? Why else would it only be on the one camera? At least, those were my thoughts as I tried to comfort myself. It was around 3 a.m., 3 in the morning, when everything should be dead. Not a thing going on. Yet here I sit, perplexed at this dark figure I see on the monitor at the end of the hall. It hasn't moved. It stands there as still as death itself. I rub my eyes. Maybe I'm just tired. I rise from my seat and walk into the hallway to investigate. That familiar feeling, that feeling of being watched, feeling as if something were right behind me. It just washes over me in the waves as I approach the dark end of the hallway. I shine my flashlight around the hall. I don't see anything. I finish checking the hallway for anything, and I don't find a thing. I walk up to the camera, inspect the lens as best I can. There are no smudges. A bug maybe it was just a bug on the lens. The rest of the night went smoothly. My relief arrived at 6 a.m. Groggy and half asleep, as he is every morning. I told him about the incomplete call and the camera issues. His sleepy expression disappears as his eyes widen. He asks if I saw it, too. I asked him to clarify. He tells me he's seen a dark figure in the hallway camera on occasion, but every time he goes out there, it disappears and it never comes up on the playback. He says he knows the history of the building and how he feels there is a lot of bad energy pent up from it being a jail. The next few shifts, I was a little more vigilant for any more of this unexplainable activity. Fortunately, all was normal. Well, for about a month anyway.
Trust me, my friend, normalcy is highly overrated. Thank you ever so much for joining us this night. We hope you each and all have a most sweet sleep, and that your dreams are blessed by the Ancient One. For now, farewell and good night.
If you have enjoyed this, please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any stories you wish to have read, send them to Sollum's Librarius on Reddit. And if you wish to support my voice, you can go to our Patreon page, as necromancers apparently don't pay well. Links to both are in the description.